Hola los foodies, ¿cómo están? Chef Anamaris here, and today I'm going to take you clamming. I found some clams at my local store and decided that I haven't made them in a while, so I wanted to make some. When you pick them up, they're nice and heavy from all the little brine that's inside, or the clam juice that's inside, and that is something you want to make sure you capture once you steam them. But a couple of things before you get started with that. So before you cook them, you want to kind of clean the outside because you'll feel a little bit of grit, that's sand. So you'll want to get rid of that, and then you'll want to soak them in just tap water, cool water, for about 20 to 30 minutes to allow them to kind of take in some of that water and push out some of the sand that may be inside the shell. You want to make sure you keep them cold. And you want to inspect them. If they have any cracks or if they're open, you probably need to discard them. If they're open, say that they've been sitting for a little bit, you can always tap them and they'll close back up if they're still alive. You don't want to eat a dead clam. But if you tap it and it doesn't seal, that means that's a dead clam and you don't want to eat it because it'll make you sick. So, like I said, you'll put them in cool water, let them sit for 20 or 30 minutes, give them a rinse, and then they'll be ready to cook. I am going to make them with pasta, so I'm making a linguine with clam sauce. And my sauce is going to start with wine. I probably will add some cream because hubby needs a creamy sauce for some reason. But anyway, I picked a inexpensive torrontés. Now you want to buy a wine that you would drink. You don't want to break the bank on it. So this one was under $10. It's from Argentina. I'm not a fan of Chardonnay, but whatever white wine you like would probably work. I personally prefer to do this with something with a little sweetness like the torrontés, or something with more acidity like a Pinot Grigio. But I saw this at the store and I haven't had torrontés in a while, so I thought, why not? Let's do it with the torrontés. So I will start soaking these and I'll walk you through the process so you can make your own spaghetti or linguine with clam sauce. See you in a bit. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of oil to get that bacon started. It has olive oil. And my tray here has all the things. So you have bacon, onion, parsley, Asiago cheese, lemon rind, half lemon, garlic, and chili flakes. So I want to make sure that oil covers the bottom. And I got my linguine cooking right now. It's probably pretty close to being done. Okay, so I'm gonna put the bacon in. And traditionally, this recipe doesn't really have bacon in it, but once I got my clams out, I realized that there's not going to be a lot of clams, so I just felt like I needed to bolster it up a little bit. So I'm just going to cook that in there for a little bit, let it kind of brown. Then I'll add my onions and garlic, and then I will cook the clams in it. I add a little bit of wine to the glaze, and be on my way. All right, so it's been about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and the bacon has browned. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out of the pan. because I would rather have the texture of the fried bacon, so it's still kind of crispy. So I'm just gonna pull that out, and then I'm gonna add the onions in here and get them softened. And I have turned the heat down a little bit. So we're going in with the onions. And ideally, really, I probably would have done shallots, but I forgot to get some from the store. So I'm just doing yellow onions. And I'm going to soften them for a little bit. And then I'll add some garlic. And then I'll put well, actually, I will deglaze it with some of the wine, and then I'll put in the clams. And I'm gonna just cook it until the clams open up. And then I'll remove the clams, leaving the clam juice behind, and finishing the sauce in that. All right, so the onions are softened. I'm going to add the garlic and the red pepper. And I want to cook that down a little bit. And then to this, I will add the wine. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit more. There's some extra onions on my cutting board that I didn't get. Let's just put those in. All right, so this has kind of come down a little bit. I'm going to add the wine. And that's about a cup and a half, 2 cups. And then I'm gonna, turn it back up. Because I want to burn that alcohol out. I might add just a little bit more. So I think I'm at 2 cups. And I showed you the bottle before. This is a Torrontés from Argentina. And I'm gonna flame it just to try to get all that alcohol out. Because it looks fancy when you're looking at it. If you have that alcohol at a boiling point, it's pretty much a good place to just burn that alcohol. You don't necessarily have to flame it. If you have a gas stove, it'll flame almost on its own. I'm just kind of mixing that in. And then I'm going to put the clams in at this point. Well, I think I'll squeeze half of my lemon, and this is a pretty big lemon. So I'm going to squeeze half of that in. I'm going to turn this down. And you can taste it and then adjust it as you like. I like adding the lemon because it'll make it bright. No seeds, so I can put that in. I'm gonna give it a quick stir. I haven't added any salt or anything here. I'll check that once I put the clams in. You want to make sure you have a skillet or a pan that has a good lid. And I'm going to put these in. And these were all really beautiful clams. They were all tightly sealed, which means they're all alive. I went ahead and soaked them in water for about an hour. If you do 30 minutes, that's good, but I just had a little extra time. And I'm going to put a lid on this and let them open up. All right, so these have been going for about 2 minutes. I want to give them a flip, and then I'm going to pull them out of this broth, and this is where I'm going to build my sauce. So the clams, the shells on the clams are pretty thick, so they take a little bit of time for them to open up, but it will happen. I'm gonna cover it for another minute, and then I'll pull them out and finish the sauce. All right, so that was another minute. I'm gonna do it this way so it doesn't steam up my camera. And I'm going to pull these out into, oh, look at that beauty. I'm gonna lift it from the heat and just pull them into a bowl. Leave all that juice behind. Now you want to be careful. If they don't open up, then they were dead. And you're okay as long as you don't force them. I'm gonna keep moving them around because some of them were closer, were on the outside, so they weren't as close to the heat. But if they don't open, then they were dead and you don't want to eat them. This one's done. I guess I'll turn this back on. That one cracked, but it's not completely open. But as long as it cracks, it means they're okay. Yep, we're pulling that one out. This one's done. Don't overcook your clams. It's a sin. Yep, these are really getting there. All right, so I took all the clams out, and now I am trying to get this to, it's not gonna really thicken, but I'm just trying to evaporate some of the sauce because I'm going to add a little bit of cream because, as I said, hubby requires sticky sauce. And I'm just gonna let that cook down a little bit. I haven't added any black pepper, so I'm gonna do that now. Just some fresh pepper. And I'm gonna give that a stir. And I'm going to add some cheese. So I have a little bit of Asiago, not a whole lot, just a little bit to flavor. I'm gonna add that in and let it melt. Just a touch. And then, I have my heat on high right now, but I'm going to turn it down in a bit. Right around now, so that cheese melted, and that's enough. I'm going to turn it down to low. And then I'm going to add the linguine, which has already been cooked. And you actually want to use some of the pasta water because that will also help it thicken. So I have my linguine still in the water here. Oh, wait, before I do that, let me go ahead and put some cream. It's about a quarter cup of cream, so not really that much. I'm going to stir it in. And that'll just give it a little more richness. And now we can put the pasta. And don't worry that you're adding some of the water because that pasta water will actually make it thicken. So here's the pasta. And if you have a husband like I do that really requires a lot of sauce, you can add a little bit of the pasta water to it. Pasta water is like magic. It makes things come together. Alright, I think that's all of it. And I'm going to actually add a little bit of the pasta water to it. If I can figure out how to get it in there. So don't just throw away that pasta water. It's magical. And then I'm gonna add the parsley. A little bit of butter. And then I'll be ready to go. You can always sprinkle some more cheese on top, some more of that Asiago or Parm on the top as you serve it. I'm gonna do just a dollop of butter to add to that creaminess. So that's the butter. I'm gonna bring that bacon back in. Yum. And I still have the heat on very low simmer. I'm gonna turn it off. And there are the clams. I'm gonna put them on top and make sure you get all that good juice into it. And that's it. Put a few of the clams over the pasta and you have a perfect dish.